Dr. Coach K coming to you live on day after, or yeah, day after Juneteenth. So let's talk about where we're going in the future. Let's start with doing our mini curriculum, the Game Changers Championship. We finished the Strength to Love by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Now we're moving into The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison from Dr. Raymond, Dr. Layton. We are on chapter 1. Moving along, we are going to continue on Design to Fail. We're on the middle page on page 12. Excuse me if I yawn. Whew, it's been a long day, but we're going to get through this because I feel like it's important to coach and teach and train and mentor so we can have a different future for the Avatar Nation that are following me, learning from me, aspiring and developing their skills and their cosmic talents. This is for you. We are going to continue to move forward in building the kingdom of God from within, building the kingdom of God in the universe as it is in heaven, as it is in earth. And we can go into more details if you have questions, but let's get to business because this doesn't last long before I get kicked out of my recording. Okay, so let's start with there is something mighty wrong when a candidate for the highest office bemoans violence in the streets but votes against the war on poverty, votes against the Civil Rights Act, and votes against major educational bills that come before him. President Nixon Law and Order campaign explicitly rejected Johnson's strategy, and in his 1970 State of Union message, Nixon stated, "We must declare and win the war against the criminal elements which increasingly threatens our cities, our homes, and our lives." The 4 years of Carter's presidency were an exception to the tough on crime agenda. So I'm going to break this up a little bit, but I'm going to keep going. But the get tough pattern resumed with Reagan's election as president in 1980 and continued through the 1990s when crime rates started to decline until the financial crisis in 2008. During the 30 years in which crime rates were increasing, politicians never took responsibility for it. They played to voters' fears by advocating law and order or the many varieties of getting tough on crime. More police, harsher sentences, mandatory minimums, strikes, 3 strikes, and you're outlaws, including expanding the number of offenses that count as strikes and the increased use in capital punishment. When crime rates started to come down, however, politicians jumped to claim credit for the reductions. Franklin Zimring calls this a version of heads I win, tails you lose, in which decreases in crime are evidence that hard line punishments work. So let me start with this. They do not talk about how crime came down, reduced. The increase in deaths from high deaths or high mortality rates, the increase of sending people into the military, into war, the increase of people who are disabled, was affected by the biochemical warfare, food warfare. There is other reasons why the crime rate went down. It didn't go down based on environmental justice. It did not go down based on restorative justice. It did not go down because of civil rights justice. It did not go down because of righteousness or the sake to spoke for those that are not believers. It did not come down based on self-actualization or self autonomy or self transformation or group transformation, that is, through the motivation model that Maslow had described when people get their security, their safety, their basic needs, their opportunity to be approved, to be accepted in society. These things were taken away. So therefore, the crime rates did not go down based on these factors or variables or formulas in mathematics, inequality mathematics or infinite mathematics. The crime rate